Hello and welcome to another inventrIght.com TV show. My name is Andrew Krauss. I co-founded InventRight with Mr. Stephen Key about 15 and a half years ago. We coach and mentor inventors. If you want to learn more about that, go to inventrIght.com, click on coaching, and learn more about how we coach and mentor inventors. Today's topic, well, by the way, I'm in my backyard again here, and there's a pool behind me. And I think a lot of inventors feel, let's put it this way, let's put a metaphor here. You're afraid to go swimming, all right? And when we were young, we were probably all afraid to go swimming at some point. But you jumped in and you had some help, and you learned how to swim. But it's something that we can all do. And inventing and licensing your products is something that we can all do without a doubt. On the last video, I talked about the fact that with most people, coming up with ideas has become part of who you are. It'll never go away. So if you watch the last video and you come to the conclusion, yes, inventing is part of who I am, so I need to commit and I need to learn how to swim, which is working on your products. So what are some of the hang-ups that keep people from jumping in the pool? Now, I'm going to tell you, none of you are going to drown. Now, you're a little kid or you're an adult learning how to swim, you're going to be fearful of drowning, right? With licensing, it's a hell of a lot safer than swimming. None of you are going to drown, guaranteed. Now, you might not do everything perfectly right all the time, and perfectionism is one concern, but also it's just a lack of information. I got a few things here that people are concerned about. One is money. And so a lot of times people think they need to throw a bunch of money at an attorney, and the attorney said, the patent is $15,000, so therefore I can't do this. Well, you can file a provisional patent for $65. Another problem is a prototype. Well, I need this big fancy prototype. Well, when you realize, if you listen to Steve and myself, you're selling the benefits of your product, not your prototype. So if you can illustrate it, maybe you can get somebody to illustrate it, or you can cannibalize something down at the store. It can be crude. You're selling the benefits. So you don't have to have this perfect, beautiful production-ready prototype by any means. Like, okay, I don't have to have a bunch of money for patents. Don't need to have investors because the company you license to will invest all their money. Don't need a fancy prototype. I can always work that out later with the company if the prototype is needed. Well, starting to remove some excuses here from jumping into the pool and going swimming, which in this scenario is you trying to license your products. Another thing that isn't always conscious is the process of licensing or starting a business, and licensing is not starting a business because you're dumping all this responsibility off onto the company, right? Which is great. Their money, their workforce, their existing distribution, they're in 20,000 stores, you're in 20,000 stores. So that's a beautiful thing. But you still got to do the work to contact those 10, 20, 30 companies. You only need one to be interested. So that work will never be as much fun as sitting in your backyard and dreaming up ideas, right? It just won't be as much fun. You have to accept that. But if it's part of who you are, just like you have to accept that there is a remote possibility that you may drown when you go swimming. You know, a meteor could hit your head while you're trying to learn how to swim, and you fall down and there's absolutely nobody around for some reason. Your swim teacher, everybody disappeared spontaneously, and you drown. You know, so all sorts of things could happen, but very few people drown learning how to swim, and you're not going to drown learning how to license. Okay? A lot of people are going around in circles, and it's pretending to move forward. It's playing around endlessly with your prototype, or endlessly feeding patent attorneys' kids' college education by filing patent after patent and spending all this money thinking, well, if I get a patent or they file a provisional, then that means that my idea is good. It means nothing except for you're paying for your attorney's kids' college education. So a lot of people are going in circles with prototypes, with patents. You have the intention, you sit down for an hour or two a day, like, I'm going to finally work on this. But you spend those hour or two going in circles rather than being really focused on a sell sheet or a list of companies or actually calling companies or filing a provisional patent, you know, and instead you're going in circles. So these are the things that are preventing you from swimming and or actually even getting in the pool. You know, you're not really getting in the pool and swimming. You're not really licensing your ideas if you're going in circles or having self-defeating thoughts about, I can't do this because I don't have the prototype, I don't have the money, I need investors. You don't need any of this stuff. Okay? Another last thing that I want to talk about is the fear of failure and fear of success. The whole thought of having ideas and working on them, anything is possible, right? And sometimes the dream of coming up with ideas and imagining them in store shelves or just thinking they're great ideas is more fun than the reality of calling 10, 20, or 30 companies and having 28 say no, having 2 show interest, 1 falls off, and you end up doing a deal with 1, you know? So all that reality of inventing and licensing, sometimes, all the time, is not as much fun as the fantasy. So you have a fear of engaging in reality, I guess is the way I would put it. I mean, I was going to talk about fear of success and failure, but now that I think about it, it's fear of engaging in reality, because coming up with ideas is a beautiful escape. It really is, and you should still enjoy that. But it's like this much of this big of a process. It's a very small part of a big process. So if you just focus on the ideation and creation, you will not license a product. 95% of your time needs to be spent elsewhere other than coming up with the idea. Some of that you'll find fun, some of it you won't find fun at all, some of it you'll learn to tolerate, some of it you'll learn to like somewhat, some of it you'll really learn to enjoy. I've had students that really, they were terrified of making calls, and they felt so empowered and so incredible when they got through to companies, and that there's this like huge weight off their shoulders that they enjoyed it after that. Maybe almost as much as coming up with ideas. So basically, this video I wanted to talk about why inventors give up. And these are a lot of the reasons why inventors give up. But as I talked about in my last video, if this is part of who you are, you can never give up. It will always haunt you until the day you die. And I've talked to people, more than I care to admit, that have had, usually it's a father, but sometimes it's a mother, because there's plenty of great women inventors now, but back in the day, women weren't inventing as much. Now, you know, 50-50. But it was always my dad had ideas, he'd filed some patents, but he never really did anything with them. But when they talk about their father, about coming up with ideas, you could tell it was part of who they were, and they never really fully realized who they wanted to be. And the son or the daughter talking about their father like this, it was a sense of, I've got to now carry the torch, and I've got to do this with my products and be successful. I'm getting a little choked up talking about that. So anyway, go to inventRight.com, check out the coaching page. I hope you enjoy this show. Steve and I are very sincere in helping people, whether it's the YouTube show or the book, or if you decide to become a full-fledged student. We're very, very passionate about licensing. It is the best path for bringing your products to market. Take care, everybody. Keep inventing. See ya.